All right, we're going to have to talk about money. We can't not. It's so vitally important. I think about a third of all the videos on this channel are going to have something to do with money. Let's boil it down to some fundamental principles. What makes you wealthy is when you're earning more than you're spending. So you've got those two key components. Now, there's a whole bunch of other variables that are floating around those two key components, but by and large, that's it. Let's just have that as a given. If you're spending more than you're earning, you're going backwards. If you're spending less than you're earning, you're going forwards. So, to try and increase that gap between what you're earning and what you're spending, so you're earning more than you're spending, there's two key things you can do. You can increase what you're earning or decrease what you're spending. Now, I'm not talking about being so tight with money, so frugal that you're suffering. What I am talking about is excess spending, where it becomes wasteful. The reason why I'm going to talk about excess spending is because of this. When we look at the level of control we have over what we earn and what we spend, unquestionably, we have more control over what we spend. There's a whole bunch of micro decisions that we can make that determine our level of expenditure. Even looking at a can of fizzy drink, it's got $2 on it, whether you spend that or not, that's a decision that you can make. And the reward for not buying that can is $2 that you would have otherwise lost. You're literally being paid $2 by not spending $2 on that can of fizzy drink. Now, again, I'm not saying cut everything out of your life. What I'm talking about is degrees of control, where in terms of what you earn, there's not a decision that you can make to that degree where you can earn that $2 more in just an instant, or 20, or 200, or 2,000. You can, through upskilling yourself, being a great negotiator, all those things, getting another job, of course, but not that micro level of control, not that absolute level of control as you do over your spending. I shouldn't use the word absolute because you don't have absolute control over your spending, but you do have more than you're earning. So let's focus on spending. Now, again, I'm not talking about going hungry, being cold, and all those other things that are really unpleasant. I'm not talking about that level of frugality. What I am talking about is making sure we're cutting down on the excess and giving ourselves breathing space. Here is one thing that you can do to check in with where you're at. If you were to walk around your home right now, wherever it is that you're living, how many of those items that you see when you walk around, if you could instantly exchange them back for the cash that you spent on them, how many items have you got that fall into that category? Now, if it's only a handful, super. But if you've got a heap, and we've all got some, but if you've got a heap, the more of those that you've got, those are where you've been hemorrhaging money. Here's another test. Can you fit your car in your garage? If you have a car in a garage, or is your garage full of a whole bunch of stuff? That also shows excess, where you're hemorrhaging money. Do you often come across things that you forgot that you owned? Excess. Do you feel drained by the number of things? You have so many things that you feel drained because you have to keep some of those things up, meaning you have to maintain them. So if you've got a lot of motorcycles, for example, and radio controlled cars and a pool, and so you're getting drained by all the maintenance that goes on with those things. All of those are indicators of excess, and those are the things we have absolute control over. Of course, there's a number of behaviors that we can look to adopt that make life easier for us around those things. For example, Don't snap buy anything. You want something? We all want something. We see something. You'll come across a video on YouTube and it's on radio control cars, and you just think, "Oh, I want one. I could get into that." We all have that feeling, but it's a case of just let it pass. Let it pass. Wait at least 24 hours, if not a week. Go and visit the local RC car club. Talk to some people there. Just find out what the scene's like. Don't just get caught up on the thing. So there's a whole bunch of behaviors like that. Slow purchasing. Now, of course, you can get a little bit frivolous on some things. I love running. I've got more pairs of running shoes that I should own. But there's a lot of other sports that I also love, and I don't spend to the same extent in those sports. In those sports. So the key is excess. What can we do to control that excess? And when you do that, go a step further. When you reduce that excess, invest that money. So instead of it being the $2 can of drink or the $5 coffee, it starts to become an investment fund. And that $2 can of drink, that $5 coffee is going to be worth nothing the next day because it's gone, it's over. But as an investment, it could be worth a little bit less or a little bit more or a lot more or a lot less, but it's going to be worth something the next day. Not saying go without, but what I am saying is you have much more control over your costs than you do your income. Work on your income. Don't forgo that. Don't forsake that. Focus on it, but know that you have more control over your costs and look for those excesses and cut those back. Now, I'm going to share things like this all through these videos. If you want me to help keep you sharp on this stuff, hold you to account, that's the reason why you'd subscribe. And if so, I'll catch you in the next one.